Hi everyone, so as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about budget car hire and our recent bad experience with them. So before I get started, I just want to say that we have used budget car hire before when we had a trip to Las Vegas. We had no problem with them, but we did book the car hire while we were in the States. Obviously this one, for this trip, we booked here in the UK. I don't know if that has any difference in it whatsoever, but yeah, last time we used budget car hire in Vegas, it was absolutely fine. We had no problems, and I know that people haven't had problems with them at also, but I'm going to tell you a bit about our experience using them this time round in our recent trip to Florida. But a little story first about the car hire and the deal that we had. So we flew with British Airways to Florida, and they were doing like a deal with budget car hire, so it ended up being kind of cheaper for the car hire to go with the flights. So that is the deal that we booked on, and we kind of thought that, you know, British Airways is teamed up with budget, so it can't be like a bad car hire company because British Airways is like a big airline, and we just thought that there would be no problems with them. Okay, so a few things that were included in the policy. I have written down a lot of notes, so I am going to be reading off of a notebook. So first thing, roadside assistant was not included in the policy. Also, like the petrol thing is they give us a full tank of petrol when we arrive, and we take it back, a full tank of petrol also. So with the whole petrol thing, so when you are at the airport, they charge $250 off a card, but they didn't take the money off of it. They've just charged $250. And basically, so with the petrol, if we take it back full, then they will give the $250 back to us because we have taken it back full. But yeah, we will come back to that because that is one point that I will be talking about, is the petrol situation, but I will be coming back to that. There was also a toll pass that was included in our deal. So they charged us $60 for a toll pass for a whole trip, and basically we could just go through all the tolls in Florida, as many as we wanted, for a charge of $60 for our trip. Now, we didn't know like how many tolls we'll be going through. Like, we hadn't been to Florida for like 5 years, so we didn't know if they built any more tolls, which I mean previously we did know that there wasn't a lot of tolls we were going through, but we didn't know if they built any more. So we just went with the toll pass with the car hire company, which now we know was not a good deal, and we could have just got the Sun Pass from the airport. There's machines there that you can get toll passes from, and it's so much cheaper, and we would have not spent $60 on tolls in our whole trip that we were there. We were there for a week, and we did drive to everywhere we wanted to go, but we would have not spent $60 on tolls. Like, I don't think it even came close to that. So yeah, that's not a good deal. If you're gonna get a toll pass, don't get it with the car hire company, just get it from the airport. There is like vending machine type Sun Pass things in all the terminals that you can pick up, and it's so easy, and we kind of wish that we did do that instead. So a bit of like a story time at the airport. I did vlog my whole Florida trip, so there is videos of us at the airport, and I will put them in. But basically we got to the airport and there was a massive line for the budget car hire company for everyone to pick up their cars, and I don't know if it was busy because everyone had the same deal as us, which they probably did with BA and budget car hire, but there was a massive queue, and we waited an hour and a half just to get to the front of the queue to get our car. It was not fun at all, and I will put in the videos now. So it is nearly 8:45.
Exactly 8:45.
And we've been waiting for a car hire for, what, since 10 past, so what's that, like 35 minutes? Yeah, I'm sure that's right. 35 minutes we've been waiting for car hire to get a car. The queue is so long, and they're not even near the front yet. This is probably the longest we've ever had to wait for a car.
Yeah.
And we've read that there's not good reviews, so we're going to see if there's any cars left. So yeah, we're waiting and waiting.
So it has officially been an hour since we've been waiting for car hire. They are like second in line. So we're nearly there, but it's taking a whole hour to queue just to get a car. So it's now 2:10 in the morning for us. Finally out. It's taken over an hour. What time is it now?
Right now?
Yeah, right now. Right now.
It is 20 past 9.
It's 20 past 9. It's taken an hour and 10 minutes to get a car, and we're just getting the car now.
So yeah, as you can see, the queuing for the car hire was not fun, and it just took up a lot of our time. We're just sitting there waiting. We did not expect to be waiting that long because we have gone with Alamo before and it's been so quick. We've not had to wait a long time. So we just kind of thought the same, that it wouldn't be long, but it just took forever. And when we got the paperwork and the keys and that, we basically got told to go down to the garage to collect the car. And we got down there was no one around to help us, no one that was working for Budget around or anything. So we just literally picked up the car. Obviously we did the once over on the car, and there was like there's a few scratches, and there was a massive hole in like the step where you step up into the car. And we did video the car around it because we've seen before that people do that just to prove that you didn't do those damages. So we did that. So yeah, we did all that, and then we just went, but there was no one there to help us. So yeah, we just found the car on our own and took it and went off. And I think it must have been like the only car there because there was not a lot of cars around in that area. So it didn't really get a lot of choice with the cars. So yeah, we went with that one, and then we went. Right, I wasn't really sure what order to do like all of this in because there's a lot to talk about, lots of different points. But I think I might just have to go straight into the worst of the situation, which is the tyres. So on the Friday when we got the car and we got to the villa, me and my sister, we did notice the tyre, one of the back tyres, there was like, honestly, me and my sister thought it was like fur from an animal. So we just thought we'd run over an animal or something. Like, we are not experts in cars. I don't know anything about cars, so I literally just thought it was an animal, and that was that. But obviously it wasn't, and it wasn't until the Thursday of our trip, so literally the day before we were gonna go home. My dad was just out, I don't know, looking at the car or something, and he noticed the tyre. And obviously it was not a run over animal, but there was wire sticking out of the tyre, and in our country, in the UK, that is an illegal tyre. You should not be driving on the road with that tyre. That tyre could burst any point, and we could have been seriously injured, or we could have crashed into someone else and someone else could have been seriously injured. It was just a state, and I am going to put in the video now of the tyre because we had to video it for proof, and it was just awful. So this is the car that we've got. Where is the tyre? And one of the tyres is about to blow. What one is it? This one here. And so me and Charlotte spotted this on the day we actually got the car, but we honestly thought it just looked like animal fur. Not obviously we don't know much about cars, but obviously they gave it to us like that, and that's not good. Tap tap Budget.
Yeah, that's wire. That's bad.
Should be seeing a wire for tyre.
It's not used.
It's criminal.
Yeah. They're all taking shortcuts because almost everybody's broke. Yeah, I gotta go see the market. I'm fixing 1973 Jaguar. It's almost finished.
So the situation with Budget. So it started really bad when we first got to the airport, waiting ages for a car. And then when we got the car, it wasn't the cleanest. I'm sure there was something else about, but I can't remember. But anyway, yes, me and Charlotte noticed the tyre on when we actually got the car. So they've given us an illegal car legal tyres to drive on. So now we're trying to find a number to contact, but there's not a number. They've just given us a roadside assistant number, so we can't actually contact them directly about it. Okay, so we just looked at some reviews that people have left for Budget, and they actually haven't had a lot of good reviews. They've actually really bad reviews about extra charges on top for something, and other stuff as well. So Budget probably isn't the best car company to go for. So probably go with another one if you can. Obviously, like we said, we went with Budget because there was a deal with the flight and the car hire. It was a really, really good price. Probably now we know why. But yeah, so Dad's on the phone to someone now trying to get something sorted, because also we can't drive with those tyres. It could blow out at any time. So just trying to get it sorted. So this is one at the hole that's also on the car, on the step. So yeah,
that was the state of the tyre, and the person who changed the tyre for us basically said it looks like what they've done, that the bit where the wire and that was sticking out, what they've done is just change the tyre around, so now it's at the back of the car, or the inside of the car, should I say, instead of the front, like the side of the car. So all they've done, they've not replaced the wheel, they've just turned it around to try and save money. But that's not the point. Like, our lives could have been in danger, and they've just done that, and that is not okay. So trying to get hold of Budget was a nightmare. So my dad tried to call someone. There was only 2 numbers written on the bottom of the sheet they gave us, and it wasn't like any numbers that we needed. I couldn't remember what was on there, but it was not any numbers that we needed. So my dad had to Google the number for the Budget airport, the number for the airport where we got the car hire from, because they did not provide us with that number. So we called them, and they basically told us that we needed to call roadside assistance, and they will sort it for us. When we got through to roadside assistance, they did tell us that Budget might charge us for the roadside assistance, but they will mark it down as an illegal tyre, so they don't charge us for it. But before, like, my dad called everyone that we needed to call, he did check to see if we had a jack in the car to change a tyre ourselves, and we did not have one. So they do not provide a jack in the car, so if you need to change your tyre, you have to call roadside assistance out. So the man that changed our tyre, he turned up in just like a normal car, and basically Budget didn't tell him that it was a big Suburban. He just thought he was going to turn up and change a small car, so he did not have the right equipment to change our tyre, because it was such a big car, big tyres. He just didn't have the equipment for it. So he had a jack in the car, and he had to use wood, because it, like, the jack that he had wasn't big enough to like pump the car up, so he had to use the jack and wood. So Budget didn't tell him the equipment that he needed and what car it was. So the man changed our tyre, and he was lovely, and we did give him a tip for it as well, because he came, I don't even know where he came from, but it was far away, just to change our tyre. And he basically said not to trust anyone, and to check the car yourselves, which we did. We checked the car, just not the tyres, because you don't think you need to check the tyres, because that is the job of the car company to do it, and you do not expect them to put an illegal tyre back on your car. Like, we were driving around in that car every day, and at any moment it could have burst. We could have like driven down a ditch, we could have crashed into someone could have been seriously hurt, but honestly they did not care. They did not care at all. So that is like the tyre situation. So now I'm going to go back to the petrol situation now, and then I will tell you all, basically all the contact that we've had with them, all the emails back and forth. I will tell you everything, but I'm gonna go back to the petrol, because that is another thing that just didn't make sense to us, and it shouldn't have happened. So basically, when we picked up the car, they told us not to get like petrol from like the freeway or any of the petrol stations outside of the airport, because Budget will fill our car up cheaper than any other petrol station. And they said theirs is $3.09 a gallon to fill up. So we kind of believed them and we said, okay, we will let them fill it up. But some time during our trip, we did need to fill up the car, and where we got it from was $2.95 a gallon, so it was cheaper than budget. So before we got to the airport to return our car, when going home, our tank was 3/4 full, so you know, we thought that they could fill it up. It's not that much they have to fill up, because we did look before we went to the airport to see if we could fill it up. So we did take it, so we would have taken it back full, but it was $3.15 a gallon from one of the petrol stations. I can't remember what one. So we thought, oh, we'd leave it because Budget will charge us $3.09 a gallon and they can fill it up for us. So we thought we'd leave it because that's the cheaper option. So when we dropped the car off, there was 27.9 gallons in the car, and Budget tried to say to us that we took it back with 17.9 gallons in the car. So luckily we had proof, and they ended up charging us for a full tank of petrol, even though it wasn't empty, and you know, it shouldn't have been a lot of money to fill up, but they charge us for the fuel and for the person going out to get the fuel. That is included in the price, which they don't tell us, and they don't tell us about added tax and any of that. So yeah, they tried to charge us $177 for a full tank of petrol. So yeah, 10 gallons of fuel at $3.09 a gallon was $50.27 because of added on taxes, surcharges, as they had to go and fill it up, but they didn't tell us any of the added charges. So yeah, we got a like the email and the paperwork of all of the charges that we had to pay them. So they charged us $177 for a full tank of fuel. They also charged us $64.95 for the tolls. So they told us it was $60, but it was actually $64.95 with tax added on top. So because of all of those charges that we did not expect to get, we tried to get hold of them. We tried to call the Budget UK number, was on hold for an hour, and then got through. They said they couldn't hear us, so they hung up on us. So that was a waste of time. Couldn't get hold of the Budget UK, so we tried to phone the US number, and we had to call the US because there was no email and no other way to contact them, so we had no choice but to give them a call. So when we got through to them, we told them about the tank of petrol and them charging us for a full tank of petrol, and they said that they could see on the paperwork that it was 3/4 full, so they credited us back on the card a refund, so the money was back on the card because we did not need to pay that much money. So yeah, they refunded us for the difference in petrol, and basically they tried to charge us for $5 a gallon with all of the charges on top of the taxes, all the extras. So basically they were telling us it was cheaper to get petrol from them, $3.09 a gallon, where actually it ended up being kind of like $5 a gallon. So yeah, don't listen to them and fill up outside of the airport where you can. So after calling the US number, the call was 44 minutes long, and they charged us £135 for a 44-minute call to the US, where we had no choice but to call them because there was no email to contact them on, and the UK one basically said they couldn't hear us and they hung up on us. So yeah, we had to call the US number and they charged us £135. So 3 days later, we got a bill for $103.90 for using roadside assistance and changing the tyre that they provided us with. Now, this time we did email them because someone that emailed us, or there was a paperwork that there was an email on the bottom of, we used that email. So instead of calling them, we did actually email someone instead, so we didn't have to pay all those charges for calling America. So we basically emailed them and just said it was unreasonable for charging us for using roadside assistance, when they didn't provide us with a jack where we could try and do it ourselves. So we had no choice but to call roadside assistance, and that's basically what they told us to do anyway. And the roadside assistant said that they were going to mark it down as an illegal tyre, so they didn't charge us, but they completely ignored that. And we just said it was unreasonable to charge us for roadside assistance and given us a car with an illegal tyre. And basically they said they don't care, we're paying, we use roadside assistance, so we're paying. So in our email that we basically wrote to them, it just said, firstly, we should not have been provided with a vehicle in this state from your company, and if it had blown out, it'd cause a serious accident. We didn't want to risk this, and we didn't want to be fined for an illegal tyre. So we took the steps ourselves to change the tyre. We had no jack to change it ourselves, so we couldn't. The vehicle should have been checked prior to be sent out, but we was left with no choice but to call assistance. Looking at the damage, this tyre had been turned around from previously being on the outside to deliberately hide the fault. And we said that if your vehicles are faulty, it is unacceptable to accept your customers to pick up the bill when it's not our fault. So the first email that they sent back was basically said that when a customer rents from a budget, they have the option to purchase the extended roadside assistance or a loss damage waiver. Our records do not reflect that you purchased either of those that would have waived these costs. Since these waivers are not purchased, we have determined that you are responsible for the full cost of the services provided and any damage incurred to the vehicle. Thank you again for choosing Budget Rent a Car. We appreciate your business and look forward to another opportunity to serve your rental needs. Yeah. We then got another email. Thank you for contacting Budget regarding the tyre damage charge on your rental. We understand this matter can be frustrating and we apologise for the inconvenience, and we are happy to review this for you. As a courtesy, I have stopped the tyre damage charge of $103.90 and have emailed you a stop billing letter. So they did decide not to charge us for the assistance and the tyre change. So yeah, it's just we're adding more money on top. So there was the petrol, there was the toll passes, all of the stuff that they didn't tell us. So they're charging us for someone to go out and get the petrol, which wasn't included in the petrol price, and just so many other stuff that they were charging us for. And we have heard from other reviews that people are being charged for stuff that they shouldn't be charged for, and they've just added so many more extras on top. And billing people for all of those stuff. And also with the tolls as well, so the Sun Pass was $64.50 with the tax on top. We paid $20 in tolls. Like, so if we went through all of the tolls individually, we would pay $20. So it's cheaper to get a Sun Pass, not from a hire company, but from like the vending machine type at the airport. But yeah, it was basically just bad from the start. Got to the airport, queued an hour and a half to get the car, no one there to help us, like the where you pick the car up from, the tyre, the petrol costs, there's no contact to contact them, the extra charges on top. There was just so much bad with that car hire company, and I don't think we would use them again. Like I said, we've used them before in Vegas and my dad's used them before as well, and there was no problem. But because of this and the way that they've like, first of all, they basically said, no, like, you're paying for it, like, it's nothing to do with us, you didn't put out the extra charges for like the waiver and all of that. Like, it's their fault that they put that tyre on the car. Like, someone's job to check the tyres, and all they've done is turn it around, and that's just not good enough. Yeah, it's just bad experience, and I don't think we would use them again. But yeah, every time we've been to Florida, we've always gone with Alamo and we've had no problems with them. The only reason that we went with Budget was because they were doing a deal with British Airways where it was cheaper, and you know, we thought British Airways, being like good airline, they wouldn't use a bad car hire company. And also when we got there as well, like, I think they were kind of in partnership with Universal Studios, and yeah, obviously Universal Studios, you would think that they would partner with a bad hire company as well. I mean, that is just our experience with them. You know, people would have had different experience with them. People might have not had any problems with them, but we have read a lot of bad reviews on Budget Car Hire Company. and they've all just been awful with the extra charges and all of that. Yeah, I'm not trying to like stop people from using them. Like, people can choose who they want, but I just wanted to get our story out and our experience with Budget, because there's a lot of bad reviews out there, and I just wanted to do the video and show people the damage on the tires, and basically the bits from the vlog when we went to Florida. Yeah, it's just not great. But anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.